First topic of conversation is, are we inching closer to a college football season for 2020? And it appears to be that way, according to Brett McMurphy, who at one point in time was a college football insider for ESPN, now works for Stadium. He put out an article on Tuesday about how the NCAA Football Oversight Committee, they've made this proposal, they've made this thought, this idea about having 6 weeks of practice before the start of the football season or before the start of fall camp now. Though they've made this recommendation, the Oversight Committee has to get this approved by the NCAA COVID-19 advisory panel. Now, if this becomes approved, it becomes a great indication of could the season start on time, when the season could start, and also how quickly could the student athletes and students in general be back on the various campuses. Now, how does this help Alabama? How does this benefit Nick Saban? Well, it benefits Nick Saban because if you remember on last week, on Tuesday or Wednesday, prior to the NFL draft, Coach Saban spoke with Paul Feinbaum of the Paul Feinbaum Show on ESPN and talked about how Alabama normally has a 4-week off-season program in the spring prior to spring ball. And before he took his talents to the Georgia Bulldogs, Scott Cochran was over that off-season program, making sure guys were running the 110s, lifting weights, doing the different things, the different stations they had to do. And despite him putting a lot on the players were tired, passing out, going through the motions and what have you. A lot of the guys felt like, if I can get through this off-season program, if I can get through physically and mentally what the coaching staff is putting me through in this conditioning regimen, then I will be able to get through the spring ball and get to the fun parts of it, whether it's throwing passes for the quarterbacks, running through different drills for running backs, catching passes for wide receivers, offensive linemen working on man blocking, zone blocking, run blocking schemes, defensively being able to make the right tackles, break on the football, affect the passing game, sack the quarterback, get after the running back. So players felt like, and Nick Saban felt like, if you were able to have a 4-week program in the offseason prior to spring ball, it would get the players well conditioned for having that spring practice. So in that same light, he feels like because Alabama and the rest of college football did not have spring, if the NCAA was able to grant at least 4 weeks of a summer program, 4 weeks of summer practice, 4 weeks of summer conditioning, because as good as it is to be able to interact with your guys through Zoom calls, through other virtual apps, and have the workout regimens for the iPhone, for the Apple Watch to monitor the players and their every move, although that's good, although that's fantastic, nothing works better than that one-on-one, that face-to-face, that interpersonal communication to where you can interact with your coaching staff, your support staff, and the players. You can have those moments where you are teaching the guys, precept and example, how to make the right tackle, how to make the right play, how to go about the right drill, and have your guys right in front of your face interacting with your players. So if the NCAA COVID-19 advisory panel approves on the 6-week practice period, then this could mean the 68-year-old, the 6-time national champion in Nick Saban getting his wish of being out there on the football field. And not only does this help the freshman guys that came in the 2020 class, but this also helps the experienced guys. It helps out the older players, and it also helps out those that suffered injuries in the 2019 season or prior to the season, when you discuss Dylan Moses, Joshua McMillan, guys like LeBron Ray, DJ Dale, who got hurt in the latter part of the season, also Trey Sanders, getting those guys back on the field, getting those guys fully up to speed, making sure that each and every one of those players are 100% when they go through the drills, as they are having those teachable moments, as they're having those mental reps. So this would be good for the freshmen, this would be good for the older players, and this would also be really beneficial to those guys who were hurt in 2019 and have that chance to get back on the field. So hopefully the NCAA COVID-19 advisory panel will be able to see the whole proposal that the oversight committee is doing, and we can have the 6-week practice period prior to the fall camp and the 2020 college football season. But we're going to go to our first break here on In My Own Words, the podcast. Don't touch that dial, just getting you started. Upon our return, we will sit down with former Alabama wide receiver Matt Caddell and talk some Crimson Tide 2020 football with him right after this.
Every sports fan deserves the proper representation. Whitwill Sports introduces to you the Title Towel. Wave that Title Towel in the air like you just don't care in support of Nick Saban and the Alabama Crimson Tide. Only $9.99 and it lasts a lifetime. Head on over to whitwillsports.com and get your Title Towel today. Touchdown Alabama Magazine is Alabama football's premier publication. A subscription to Touchdown Alabama Magazine is the perfect gift for any Alabama fan. For exclusive news and information, recruiting updates, a free annual print magazine, and more, go to touchdownalabama.com and click join. Only $5.95 per month or pay $49.95 for a full year subscription. That's a saving of almost $22. Make sure to subscribe before it's too late and get our new freshly printed end of the year magazine issue. Go to touchdownalabama.com today and roll Tide.
Thank you for watching Touchdown Alabama Magazine's YouTube channel. To continue to get the best in the Alabama football content, subscribe here and turn on your notifications to stay connected with the hottest shows covering your Crimson Tide.